Celebrities at Disney have certainly been in the news lately. Rebel Wilson being banned from Disneyland, the Kardashians shutting down rides, and even Mr. Beast claiming to rent out Disneyland for a date. And Disney has a complex history and relationship with celebrities that dates back to Walt himself. So join me as we deep dive into what special permissions celebrities actually get at Disney. I'm Mouselet1, and for today's Mouselets Monday, we are rewinding to the year 1955 when Disneyland Park opened. Because in order to talk about how celebrities are treated at Disney, we first have to talk about how regular guests are treated at Disney. And in 1955, when Disneyland Park opened, regular guests were supposed to be given the VIP treatment, meaning that every single person who entered the gates of Disneyland was meant to be treated as a very important person, which is a great sentiment. But what did that mean for actual very important people like politicians and celebrities? These people would frequently visit Disneyland, and so some rules needed to be established, and it was actually Walt himself who came up with the idea of how to handle them. And it was actually very simple, because his initial rule was that these people should get very minimal, if any, special treatment. Now, that's definitely not what we see today, and we'll get to that, but that was what Walt initially wanted. And it meant that for the most part, VIPs and celebrities were meant to experience the park like anyone else. They weren't allowed to cut lines or be overly pampered. Walt felt like that went against the initial idea of the park, where every guest was a VIP. And there was no press coverage arranged to showcase their visits. Even when Walt's own family came to visit Disneyland, including his daughters and granddaughters, they were not given skip-the-line privileges. But Walt knew that some VIPs did need special treatment. This was primarily politicians and dignitaries for whom a premium experience was necessary in order to be respectful. And in these instances, it was Walt himself who personally toured these guests around the park, such as the Belgian King Baudouin, King Mohammed V of Morocco, Richard Nixon and his family, the Prime Minister of India, and the Shah of Iran, seen here riding the Matterhorn with Walt and his wife, the Empress. And occasionally, Walt toured non-politicians as well, including his wife Lillian's parents and the actress Meryl Oberlin, seen here with Walt in Adventureland's Indian Village. But as time went on, Walt became increasingly busy, and he didn't have time to personally tour all of his VIP guests. Plus, with Disneyland Park being open for a few years, ordinary day guests were interested in guided tours that would help them make the most of their experience. And so, in the late 1950s, the Disneyland Guided Tour program was created. These tours were not exclusive to celebrities. They were open to any guest who was willing to pay, and they made possible, quote, numerous special privileges, including guided tours of the park, reserved eating facilities at one of Disneyland's fine restaurants, a group reservation for the Golden Horseshoe Show, a welcoming banner on Main Street, and a special welcoming concert by the Disneyland Band. All parties are met by a member of the guest relations staff at the main gate upon their arrival. They are then guided into Town Square, where an orientation and official welcome to Disneyland are given. Many times, a conducted tour of the park is prearranged. Normally, the staff member will meet the group again at lunch or dinner to assist in any possible way. So while these tours were not officially called VIP tours as they are today, it was the first iteration of the now famous plaids, aka the Disney tour guides who to this day wear an iconic plaid uniform. And once this program was created, when celebrities or other VIP guests came to the park, they were often assigned a plaid for efficiency and discretion purposes. But they did still wait in line per Walt's rules. Moving into the 1960s, and especially after Walt's death in 1966, the VIP tour program began formalizing, particularly for corporate sponsors, celebrities, and foreign dignitaries. Tour guides were now officially tasked with handling itineraries, and the language around a VIP tour began to emerge. And then in 1971, Walt Disney World opened, and it was designed from the start to accommodate higher-end guests and business partners. Attractions with sponsors had corporate lounges. Private transportation was available to move the VIPs across the massive property, and behind-the-scenes access was allowed. And by the mid-1970s, Disney World had formalized VIP tour packages, complete with personalized itineraries, reserved seating for shows and fireworks, and private plaid guides. And while this is still modest compared to what we have today, it was more structured than Disneyland and remained the standard for the next 2 decades or so. And so, by the time the 1990s rolled around, Disney had realized the value of premium pricing for time saving, and demand for premium services continued to grow. And so, they expanded their VIP tour program to essentially the service that we know today. If you're not familiar with a VIP tour, we have an old vlog about our experience taking one a few years ago. But essentially, it includes the best of the best at Disney World, meaning you get front-of-the-line access, concierge-style planning, a private personal tour guide to take you around the parks, private fireworks viewing areas, and more, all things that went against Walt's original vision. But these were hugely popular amongst guests and ultimately became necessary for those VIPs. Because one of Disney's primary keys is safety. And imagine today having a celebrity like Taylor Swift walking around the park. It would be unsafe for her and it would be unsafe for guests. So the VIP tour program really helps manage this and create a safe way for the celebrity to navigate the park. But the particular experience any celebrity or VIP has depends on their level of fame. So let's break it down. At a general level, Disney strongly encourages all celebrities to use the VIP tour service. And in some cases, they may even waive the VIP tour fee because, again, they really need the celebrity to be with a plaid in order to keep the park safe. And for these extremely famous, high-profile celebrities or VIP guests, the experience is not the same as a normal VIP tour. They navigate the park essentially 100% backstage, including accessing areas like utilidors in order to remain away from guests. On a normal VIP tour, you wait in the lightning lane queue, but for these guests, they've completely skipped the line, walking straight onto the ride. And for each attraction, they briefly disrupt normal ride operations. This is what we saw with the Kardashians, where it created quite a stir that they got to ride the teacups alone while all of the normal guests had to wait in line and watch. But this has to be done for safety reasons because guests who are on the ride with the celebrity could easily try to get up in order to go meet them. And you'll see the same type of behavior on any ride. On ones with continuous vehicles, the ride dispatcher will send out empty vehicles before and after the celebrity in order to give them privacy, but again, make sure that guests aren't trying to stand up to take a picture or get out of the ride vehicle to find the celebrity. So this experience is extremely curated and really nothing like what a regular park guest would ever experience. But less recognizable celebrities, or ones who maybe choose to dress a little more incognito, can go on a fairly standard VIP tour, meaning the same one that any regular guest could pay for, and the same one that me and my sister took a few years ago. Celebrities on these tours may travel in backstage areas occasionally, which isn't infrequent for VIP tours. We did that on ours as well. But for the most part, they would travel around the park as normal. They would use the regular lightning lane queues and wouldn't require empty ride vehicles. And while their plaid would be responsible for making sure that they aren't surrounded by fans, they'd overall get to experience the park in a fairly normal way. And speaking of, we once had an encounter with a celebrity on one of these more public VIP tours. My sister and I were relaxing at the Joffrey stand by Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind when we saw a plaid with a group of people. Not uncommon, but one of the people in the group just sort of seemed like a celebrity. Her outfit was fairly dressed down. She was wearing leggings, a Spirit jersey, and a baseball cap, but her platinum blonde hair and her really trendy sunglasses just made it seem like she might be someone notable. We spent some time watching, seeing if we could figure it out, and eventually realized that it was Christina Aguilera. We actually knew that she might be around because she was performing for a televised special later that night at Magic Kingdom, but she was there at Epcot hanging out just like us. So that's a look at the VIP tour experience for celebrities, but what about other perks in the parks? For example, have you ever heard of Mariah Carey staying at the iconic Cinderella Castle Suite? We actually did a full Mouselets Monday deep dive on this, so if you want to learn more, check out that video. But the long story short is that celebrities are often granted access to this suite. And even for them, it is complimentary. Another exclusive area is Club 33. And if you aren't familiar with Club 33, it's Disney's exclusive members-only restaurant and lounge. It was originally started at Disneyland as one of Walt's own ideas, but now there are Club 33s at Walt Disney World as well. And this really requires its own full Mouselets Monday deep dive. But Club 33 is an interesting one because, again, it is members only. It's easier for celebrities to become members than regular guests, and many are, such as Tom Hanks, Christina Aguilera, and Elton John. But most celebrities probably would not be granted access to Club 33 simply for being a celebrity. They would have to know someone who would make them a reservation or bring them in just like a normal guest would. But for some very high-profile celebrities, it is likely that they get to go inside. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned that Rebel Wilson was actually banned from Disneyland, and Club 33 is why. Club 33 has some fairly strict rules around photos and videos, and one big rule is that you can't take a photo in the bathroom, which Rebel Wilson did. So she was banned from Disneyland for 30 days. Now, the last exclusive experience that sometimes is talked about is the idea of renting out the park. The YouTuber Mr. Beast recently claimed that he did this for a date. And this is something that for the most part actually can't really be done, at least not in the modern day. When Mr. Beast says that he did it, he wasn't renting out the park during normal operating hours. He was going after the park had closed for a private experience, which cost him $500,000 and obviously wouldn't be something available to normal guests, but celebrities are not able to rent out the park during operating hours. This is something that celebrities have supposedly tried to do, but it just doesn't make sense for Disney from an operations perspective or from an experience perspective from the rest of their guests. So that's why they have the VIP tour program in order to allow celebrities to enjoy the park without having it be shut down. So celebrities at Disney can be fairly controversial. Some people love getting to spot a celebrity in the park. Some people don't love the fact that a ride may be stopped in order to let the celebrity on. But Walt Disney wants celebrities to be able to enjoy the parks too, and a lot of celebrities are actually huge Disney fans, like Chris Evans or John Stamos. They also are focused on the safety of that person and the safety of all of the guests, which is why they have some of these more extreme measures in place. If you like learning about Disney lore, facts, history, secrets, follow us for more Mouselets Mondays. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.